All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to today's journal recap. It is the 17th of February. And before I even go into like the trading recap, I do want to update you guys on like what's going on. But essentially, I have been um, really struggling with my psychology lately. And just looking at like how I've been doing recently with my trading, it's gone basically down the shithole. If I'm realistic about it, I think that my January like kind of results have been affecting and kind of like leaking to like how I've been trading into my February. So what I realized was that like I've just constantly been taking losses and just taking stupid trades, hesitating on trades that I should not be hesitating on. Just like overall not really seeing the markets correctly and just overall day by day losing the confidence that I had. And I know my webcam is going out and I'll try to fix it, but deal with it for right now. But essentially, like what I'm going through is the idea of like I am not doing well and I'm seeing myself repeat into a loop, right? Into a cycle. And so because of that, I've fully committed and I've decided to go into just complete paper trading. And the reason for that is simple. Like I'm not doing well. I'm seeing myself go into a loop versus loop. And so I need to take these drastic measures into ensuring that like I actually know what I'm doing and to move forward with myself, just to try to to gain confidence, really. So yeah, from now on, I still will be doing these trading recaps, but I will be paper trading until I pass the account. That's my goal, to pass a 50K challenge, right, which is 3,000 profit taking. And yeah, I'll just be recording my results from the day to day, but it's just paper trade instead of the eval. You know what? It is what it is, but that's my journal, that's my journey, and this is what I have to do. So I'm gonna do it, and it is what it is. But I'm still fairly new, and even if it's a year in, I need to do what I need to do to survive, basically. So yeah, let's just get right into it. Let me actually lower this. There we go. So coming into the day, I had a fully bearish bias. The reason for that is because if you can see here on this 4 hour gap, and let me just do this so it's easier. You can see here, right? If you're looking at like the way we're trending, we're obviously trending lower. Like we've been consistently disrespecting bearish gaps and the opposite. We've been disrespecting bullish gaps and respecting bearish gaps, right? So if you see on this 4 hour, right, we swept into it and then we started displacing lower. And then on this hourly, we respected it by tapping into this gap. And then what did we do? We traded lower, ignoring this. But since we left that hourly gap, right, what did I want to do since we ended up like leaving it? I wanted to see price trade into it, right? And then possibly continuing towards sell side. Right? We had all of this low resistance liquidity right here. So I wanted to see something happen, right? We had this unfilled 5 down here, good draw on liquidity, this intermediate low right here, good draw on liquidity. So just generally having all of these um, draw on liquidity is a really good incentive for me to want to go lower. So what are we doing, right? Um, that's kind of my narrative, right? So if price ends up sweeping up, I wanted to see a trade lower. And then if price ends up sweeping lower without an entry, we could take longs towards this hourly intermediate high because this was an hourly intermediate or 15-minute intermediate low. So that could have been a good reason to go higher. But my bias wasn't bullish for today, so I wasn't really looking for longs. Unless opportunity presents itself, we have good enough displacement, all that all that jazz. But yeah, let's get into market open. Market opens, I noticed that ES actually ended up sweeping into this hourly intermediate high already prior to market open, but I wanted to see what ES did, right? If we reacted lower from there, then I know that, hey, we might want to be able to catch shorts, but for a continuation short, right? But who knows, right? Market opens, and Q ended up sweeping into that, and then we ended up sweeping into this 4 hour gap right here. So obviously, since we had this much displacement, I wanted to see what price would do next, right? We ended up sweeping lower, right? Showing us rejection, clear rejection, obviously. We ended up invalidating this 5-minute eventually. And if this 5-minute did get closed through, I would have taken a trade here towards the sell side liquidity and maybe even brought runners towards this hourly intermediate low. But price did not do that, so I didn't want to enter it. Then what did we do next? We end up hitting this hourly intermediate low. We end up trading, opening up a 5, and then we end up trading into it. Okay, what did I want to do here, right? I saw this 2-minute get closed through. Before we even start. Saw this 2-minute get closed through, and is there a 3-minute? Nope. 4, nope. 5, nope. Okay, so 2-minute highest time frame inversion of this trading leg. That sweeps into the 5 right here, right? I believe it was right here, right? It's 5-minute gap. Then we traded lower. We had good displacement, and I wanted above the wick, right? Something like that. So stop loss at the swing high, the wick of the swing high. Body closure was pretty good, and then 1 to 2. And this was more of a continuation, but I didn't also see any reason for price to be invalidated, so I didn't have a break even. That was though until, and I'll show you. Let me just see. Okay, I'll just show you. 14, and then 15. So 15-minute opens up. I see that. So basically, we enter here, right, at this 2-minute. And the reason why I'm going to this 1-minute is so that I can show you. But at the 15-minute, right, at this mark, what do we open up? We end up opening up a 15-minute gap above us right here. So because that opened up there, I immediately moved my break to break even. Or actually, that is a lie, and I apologize for that. That's a lie. That's what I wish I would have done. But what I did do, oh my God, there we go. What I did do was I basically placed it. I took the trade at that point in time, so on the 2-minute, and then I just had no break even because it was just a quick 1-to-1. Yeah, that was really it. Or I could have break even here and then go towards this intermediate low on the higher time frame, which I believe was a 4-hour, but I can't remember. But since 15-minute opened up, I should have just immediately broke even because guess what happened? Boom. 15-minute gets immediately swept into right here. And then what do we have here? 4-minute highest time frame. Right, so as you can see here, the 4-minute has the highest time frame, and then we closed right here. What I wanted to do was target a 1-to-1 down here. This honestly would have been a rough trade, and I don't think realistically I would have entered. I actually ended up fading or this trade. I actually took it. I took this trade, faded this trade. The reason for that is just because if you look here, this would have been a valid target, but we don't really have any good drawn liquidity besides if you want to go all the way down here, but I don't think we should target that. And just like from how much we've displaced, realistically, honestly, I probably would have taken this trade, but I decided to fade it just because of the RR and just where our stop loss is. But I entered here. My break-even point was here. And then eventually price just stomped me out at break-even again. And then we ended up trading higher from there. And then what I believe happened was that because we sought out sell side liquidity, that was, I think, in a higher time frame gap. I'm not sure. I believe it was in like a 30-minute or something. No, was it like a 15? Yeah, so yeah, that's all it took. So basically, price ends up sweeping into this 15-minute gap, and then we had like a internal sweep again. Basically, we basically just had an internal sweep, and then price traded higher, and that was why. Yep. So basically the same line as sell side liquidity. So as soon as that happened, we end up resweeping into this 15, and then we continued higher from there. Honestly, would have been a valid trade too to take this 4-minute, targeting like a 15-minute gap above, maybe like right here. But yeah, just no, we're not doing that. But either way, I still feel like this continuation trade was valid. We just hit break even so quickly. But my overall bias was bearish because of that higher time frame trend. And just looking at like how price action moved, right? Swept out this hourly, displaced lower, right? This 5-minute was the highest time frame gap, right? Didn't close below it. Sucks. Would have loved to see a trade hit this sell side. But let me actually measure this out. Right? This is realistically what I would have done. Good 101 RR. Oh well, whatever. Um, so yeah, the only valid trade that I saw was this 5-minute cont, right? 2-minute good displacement lower, got stomped out. Should have hit break even, but didn't. Lost 250 for that, and then this one hit break even or a fade. I didn't trade this one, so this would have hit break even. But I just wanted to point that out that this was a potential trade that I could have taken. But yeah, that's it. And then price continued higher, and yeah, we don't really care. All right, I hope you all enjoyed the video, but yeah, I'll see you all tomorrow.